Welcome to Rainbow Six Esports for Oceania in 2021. We're proud to share with you the timeline for our 2021 season and the format of our Oceanic leagues throughout the year. Through a sustainable approach to the region, we now have two clearly defined tiers and a proper flow through from our newly created Oceanic Challenger League to our returning Oceanic Nationals. Both leagues will meet for 3 stages in the year-long season, with participating teams accumulating points based on results from each stage. So how exactly will each stage be played out? We have 8 teams per league, playing single round robin best of ones with overtime. A regular win is rewarded with 3 points, while a loss gives 0. When the 2 teams fight up into overtime, the winner gets 2 points, while the loser gets 1. At the end of each stage, the top 5 teams will qualify into our new Gauntlet format playoffs, while the remainder of the teams will have their placements and points locked in. Playoffs for both OCN and OCL will be best of 3s, with best of 5 grand finals. At the conclusion of each stage, teams will be allocated points based on their final standings. For OCN teams, the conclusion of Stage 3 will show us which teams have earned enough points to enter a promotion relegation tournament and fight for a chance to enter the Asia Pacific Regional League, whereas OCL teams that accumulated enough points will have their promotion opportunity into the Nationals, OCN. For both OCN and OCL, the top teams from each league will compete in seasonal finals to be held on LAN, where we will crown a champion in each league. This will be a great opportunity to celebrate Rainbow Six Esports in Oceania and come together as a community. We will have more information on these events later this year. Ubisoft's commitment to the growth and sustainability of esports in the Oceanic region is higher than ever. With 2 exciting leagues of 8 teams, broadcasting over 9 months of the year, and direct pathways through to the coveted APAC League and ultimately the Six Invitational, opportunities are abundant for players in Oceania. You won't want to miss this exhilarating year of R6 Esports, so follow us at R6 Esports OCE to stay up to date with our season, support your favorite teams, and catch exciting content from the best players in Oceania.
I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. I'm running out. I'm so empty, so empty. I'm so
This could be huge. Manages to find them. It's play day number 2 of the Oceanic Nationals. We kicked it all off yesterday with some belting matches. And of course, we return for 4 more matches to close out the week. My name is Xenox. Joining me tonight is my lovely bearded man in crime. It's Guz. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I mean, it looks like you're fresh back from a holiday, so I hope you had a good one over in the Bahamas.
Got the tan on and everything.
Yeah, it's looking really nice. Keen to be back for OCE, best region in the world. So yesterday was a lot of fun, and I'm sure today will be even better because we have the best casters in the region as well.
Exactly. Although I don't know about the best tipsters anymore. I think I'm letting the team down a little bit there after yesterday's matches. You know, let's before we move on about today, let's have a little bit of a thought here about how everything sort of transpired yesterday, guys, because there were quite a few little surprises that did come out of Playday number 1.
Yeah, I mean, where do you want to start? We can talk about maybe Elevate Knights first. We saw the Knights drop their first map in a while against a team that we probably weren't expecting them to. So it was a 7-5. Elevate getting their first win on the board here of the year. So massive for them. And then I guess the second biggest result after that, for me at least, would probably be Order and Wildcard. Wildcard, they are not looking good at the moment. Honestly, a little bit grim for them. So hopefully they can bounce back tonight. But yeah, another good start for Order. Specker seemed pretty happy. So that's what we like to see as well.
Yep, 100%. We're also going to have a look at the schedule for today, play day number 2. Look, I'm going to be completely blunt here, right? I went 0-4 yesterday in my predictions, and we'll get to all of that again. But looking at the schedule today, guards, I can't help but feel I'm going to go 4-0. Like,
Ooh, that's
today's
a bold
matches
call.
surely are a little bit more straightforward. We kick it off with Rufflecopter versus Knights, then Rhythm Order. Bliss Elevate, I think low-key that could be match of the day potentially. Wildcard versus LFO then to close out is another one that could surprise as well.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing we know about Oceania is whenever you think a game is clear-cut, it probably won't be. So I'm not expecting any of these games to be particularly one-sided. I guess looking further down the line, as you mentioned, Bliss Elevate, that's going to be a banging match. Elevate really looking to continue that form, and then after that, that wildcard LFO game I think is also going to be pivotal. Both teams trying to get their first win on the board, and wildcard really just trying to survive this first stage.
Let's get to my favorite part of the segment, or at least what it used to be. It's the quote, the expert panel predictions by Snowball Esports. Look, today, as I've kind of tried to allude to, guys, it's a bit more simplified today. Only the last match, Wildcard versus LFO, has any of us divided. Everyone else going with the expected results.
Well, the unfortunate thing for you is you're not really going to catch up. If anything, you could fall even further behind if LFO wins tonight. I think it's important to remember, actually, that we do these predictions. We do these predictions before both play days.
Yes.
If we had have been able to change it before tonight, honestly, I reckon I would have flip-flopped on Wildcard and put LFO down. Honestly, I genuinely think Wildcard are really not in a great spot. So I'm sure Manic and Dev, they'll be laughing, as you can see their picks if LFO managed to get a win. And it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
Me and my mate Owen down the bottom there, 0-4. Look, can I just say, before we move forward, yesterday's results, guys, they really could have gone either way, some of them, right? So, looking at it here, I tipped LFO. They were in a 5-3 winning position, and let's be real, kind of choked it towards the end to Blizz, right? They should have won that. I tipped Knights over Elevate. I don't think anyone could really blame me for that decision, right? Knights are considered the best team in the region, should be winning that. And I did vote for Rhythm, thinking maybe there would be an upset. Rufflecopter, you know, the newcomers to the league. So, look, I could have easily been 3-1, let's be real. Let's move on, though, to the matchup we've got today, where it all kickstarts, which I think is also going to be quite exciting. Rufflecopter versus Knights. You've got the team that's come from relegations versus the team that's considered the best in the region, who's not off to the best start.
Yeah, Rufflecopter's first big test on the big stage. The Knights are definitely not to be underestimated. Sure, they lost last night, but maybe that was just a blip on the radar. They'll be looking, of course, to bounce back, but here is that Rufflecopter roster. Xenox, as we mentioned, this is their first real test in the big leagues. We're not expecting a win from them tonight, but I do expect them to put up a good fight. I think they actually played quite well last night. They brought some really calculated aggression. Their refragging was very, very impressive. So I'm sure that they can probably get some rounds against the Knights here.
Look, I think Rufflecopter coming into this matchup can play stress-free. There's no expectation for them to be winning against Knights, but they can do it. Like, I honestly believe that they could do it. They have to be a little bit more tricky, for example, whereas I think Knights are going to be a little bit more structured. Let's go and have a look at the Knights lineup as well. Of course, they are the team to beat this season. Elevate's already done it, though. That's one team that's already knocked off the Knights. Are there going to be any more teams? I'll tell you what, though, guys. If Rufflecopter beat Knights, their season's looking pretty bad already.
Yeah, look, I don't want to put that cloud of doubt over them just yet. I'm keen to see how they actually perform in the server. It was a little bit tricky to pin the loss against any particular players. It just felt like the Knights weren't really in the server as much as they would have liked. So I'm sure they'll be looking to bounce back, and they're probably heading into this matchup thinking that Ruffle will be a bit of an easier opponent, and they can use that as a bit of a launch pad, I guess, for the rest of the year.
I don't think you can go in with that mentality, though. Not in Oceanic Nationals, whether a team's an easy opponent. If Knights come into this matchup like 10% off, they probably lose. Or at the very least, it goes to like OT, or it's a close one. If I'm Rufflecopter, though, I think pushing to OT would be like amazing. Getting anything out of this matchup would be surreal, of course. For those who aren't aware, bit of a new system involved this season, where if you can get to OT and lose, you get still 1 point. So you'll walk away with something. And if you win in OT, you get 2 points. So it's one less than a regular win. So I think that would be, I guess, the goal here for Rufflecopter coming into this matchup.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's important to remember as well that that point system is now global across the entire R6 scene, which is awesome to see. We didn't actually see any overtimes, though, last night. I'm sure the games were a little bit tight, but
No.
I don't think we saw a single OT. Every single match ended in regulation. The closest was Elevate Knights, 7-5. So yeah, maybe Ruffle can push this one to OT. They're gonna have to play at their best, but I think there's definitely some weaknesses there from the Knights that can be exploited.
Right, let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into the nerd out a bit here. Map thoughts, I guess, where we're going. Of course, best of one means there's a lot more bans than there is picks. There's only one pick in the end, and it's a decider more than anything. What are we thinking here for this matchup? It feels like it comes down to, can Rufflecopter find an even ground?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna quickly look at the map stats. I think it's tricky to guess because Rufflecopter, of course, doesn't have as rich of a history as the Knights. That said, I don't think the Knights will want to go to the same map they did last night because that did not really work out for them on Clubhouse. And in fact, their record on Clubhouse is quite poor. And we mentioned that last night, that it was interesting that they decided to go to Clubhouse because if I remember correctly, they actually banned out Oregon last, so they could have headed to Oregon, which they actually have a lot better of a win-loss on. So yeah, we can basically rule out Clubhouse, but as for the other 6 maps, who knows? It's anyone's guess. Maybe the Knights will head us back to Chalet.
What?
They won that in APAC.
What kind of analysis
South,
is that? It's anyone's guess. Jeez. Well, let's get into the maps and see where we are heading. It's probably going to be Clubhouse, knowing my luck. It's Oregon. That's our map.
Hey.
That is the Xenox and Guz map. Last night was all about Clubhouse for those who didn't watch Playdate number 1. It was, I think, 1 Oregon and 3 Clubhouse. We head back to Oregon. The biggest thing, though, is Rufflecopter had the final ban, Guz, and they essentially got to choose between Villa and Oregon. We don't see as much Villa compared to Oregon.
Yeah, Villa looks, again, from that small amount of history we do have from Ruffle, it's the actual most banned map. 3 bans over the course of, I assume, around the last 6 months or so. That said, it's actually not a great map for the Knights. They haven't played it a whole lot. They've gone 1 and 4 over the course of the last couple of years. So I guess Ruffle just don't feel comfortable in Villa. They'd rather just take it to Oregon, a little bit closer in that sense. But as I mentioned earlier, Oregon is a pretty strong map for the Knights. So again, Ruffle will need to bring their A game.
Yeah, it's one that I look at Oregon and I can't help but think Knights are going to be favored here. I think they're going to have too much structure as well. Villa would have been more of like a curveball, but if Rufflecopter themselves are not comfortable on Villa, then you can't really hate the pick really in the end. And hey, you know, Rufflecopter, maybe they've got some strats here that they think can get them across the line. They did play Oregon last night. They beat Rhythm 7-4. And it was kind of close at the start, then they pulled away. So we'll have to obviously see how it goes. But I'm not changing my thoughts or my tips, Guz. I don't know about you, but I still think Knights come away with this.
Yeah, it's difficult to look past the Knights. If I had to put it down to like a percentage split, probably like 80% Knights, 20% Ruffle. It's going to come down, I think, to the very start of the match. If Ruffle can dictate the terms and play the way that they did last night with the aggression, their refrag, if they bring that to the table from the very start and try and match the Knights or even surpass them, then hey, this match could open wide open. But the Knights, they'll be looking at basically taking the same mentality, try and shut down Rufflecopter and prevent them from playing as confident as they want.
Obviously, we know for Rufflecopter, it's their first time in the big leagues, Guz. They got to play Rhythm yesterday, which is a team they've actually got a little bit of history against. But what they don't have history against is some of these top-tier teams in the region. This is really going to be the first time, at least in a competitive match, that we're going to see them go up against a team of Knights' caliber.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, some of the players maybe from Ruffle, like OJ, have played against some of the players against the Knights, harping back to like 6 Masters 2019. But I mean, again, that's basically ancient history by this point, right? So we haven't seen, like you said, these 5 on the Rufflecopter versus the 5 on the Knights. So lots of question marks, lots of answers to come, I guess. And yeah, Knights to win, hopefully, but my prediction. But a lot of storylines to develop.
Look, I mean, if anyone's hoping for any prediction wins, it's got to be me here. I think coming into this, though, Knights will just have too much for Rufflecopter. But if Rufflecopter's to win this, if there's a way, we put our thinking caps on here, how do they beat Knights on Oregon? Besides mentioning Kids Dorms, how do they win?
You stole it. I was going to mention Kids Dorms, most critical map. Look, we'll save that for when we're in-game. We'll probably mention it 15 times. I think the attacks are going to be put under the microscope here. Ruffle and Knights, from what I've seen so far, have a very similar playstyle on those executes, so they'll need to really perfect that heading into this first map here.
It is the first map of the evening. Rufflecopter versus Knights. One's a laughing helicopter, the other one is a very fearful team who are very much seeking a win for the first time here for Oceanic Nationals 2021. Is Rufflecopter gonna get off to a 2-0 start, or can Knights bite back after their loss to Elevate yesterday? We go into the ban phase here on Oregon.
Will we see anything unorthodox? Well, some might say that Capitel's a little bit of a strange ban. He's dropped off a bit in the meta. I'm sure some of the OGs in chat would remember when Capital was almost a must pick on a lot of different maps and a lot of different objectives. I guess maybe that's a target ban there from the Knights onto Ruffle, and they'll be followed up with a Thatcher. And Xenox, I think that continues the trend of 100% Thatcher bans so far.
It does, yeah. 100% ban rate for Thatcher. In fact, I was speaking to you yesterday, obviously we weren't on air, but about what more needs to change for Thatcher to really get played. And it's just kind of just got to make him someone who has no ability, I think, too, if he's going to get played. I feel almost bad, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Jaeger also going to be banned out. Mirror, no real surprises there. As you mentioned, the Capital is like one, but I mean, we've seen enough Capital, I think, on Oregon that it does warrant it. And if it is a target ban as well, then that goes with the territory there. Round one, Rufflecopter on the attack, Knights on the defense, and we will start us off here. Down the basement, no surprises there.
Yeah, not too unsurprising. Probably the strongest site in the current meta. But it is a site, as I sort of alluded to earlier, that really does favor teams strong in the final 15-20 seconds on that execute phase of the round. So I'm very excited to see just how confident Rufflecopter here are, as they are starting on the attack, meaning that the Knights, of course, picked which side to defend, I believe, because Ruffle had the final.
You mentioned it before. Really, for you, the lookout here is the attacking teams, or the attacking rounds. 63% win rate for attacking teams on the sites here on Oregon, so it really is a must win. If you're going to win Oregon, you're going to have to do well in the attack. Look at the Snap Fitness community vote, and 64 to 36%, actually a little bit closer than I would have thought.
Closer than I would have had it. I mean, I sort of said earlier it would be around about an 80-20 split, so clearly some fans in the community of Rufflecopter. I know they do have a couple of fans, you know, especially in the ranked community. These boys go pretty hard, so sure that they have some Twitter presence over there. Again, you can get your votes in at R6 Esports OCE. Tag Xenox if you think he's a bad caster, and I'll like your tweet.
Me too. Can only agree with all of the facts there. Vigil, Mozzie, Knights seemingly going to play above here. Don't sense they're going to go for too much of a turtle, trying, I guess, to deny as much from above.
Not really a whole lot happening at the moment. Josh on the Vigil, roaming. Presence spotted at least by bouncing, but won't know exactly where this player is positioned. In fact, Josh is actually getting quite aggressive. Over towards the double window, a gunfight ensues, but neither player will end up on top. Josh uses an impact to create an additional angle, also wary that he might get pushed from behind, sandwiched into a pinch of sorts, but Ruffle aren't really committing to this too hard at the moment.
Still a lot of players outside, and I think that's really just what you want if you're in Josh's position. His position is known over towards Attic, but he can now start to fall back through Big Tower. Just buys a little bit of time, puts a bit of doubt into the minds of Rufflecopter as well. Falls back closer to Hayward as well, can fall down the stairs if need be. Bouncer now pushing through Attic. Does have to be a little bit careful here as well. Doesn't quite have as much information on Josh as he did about 20-30 seconds ago. It's a minute and a half into the round, and I'm not sure if Rufflecopter have actually made much progress down towards the basement. Townsend is getting super aggressive here.
Really need to pinch this player out, and I mean, they're not going to know exactly where he is. The trade will be very precarious as Josh actually maybe repositions into a worse spot, but he's going to hold it. Oh, please be careful of the wall bang. That's very, very well done there by bouncing. Almost wall bangs the second player on the rear stage stairs as well, but he'll get away with his life. Leaves it in a 4-on-4. Hatch opened as well here by Rufflecopter, so some decent progression despite being halted earlier in the round.
There was a trade elsewhere as well, literally as that wallbang happened. Campo copying a Nitro Cell from Hayward, so that evened it up. There was no advantage at any time there for Rufflecopter. 40 seconds left into the round. Now going to start to push through Freezer as Voidy on the Ying, which we haven't really seen much of recently. Of course, in last year, it was mostly banned. There's 30 seconds left into the round. Voidy is now going to start to push in. Headshot onto Sage on as well. Can find a second. Oh, I thought he got a third. It was actually a team kill from Juicy onto Dino. 20 seconds left, and Rufflecopter can come away with the round win.
Really only one player left, I guess, with Juicy so low. What can they both do here? Try and clutch up this round. Juicy gets taken down. Hayward as well. Ruffle to take round number 1.
I mean, what's that about 20-second meta and having it all sort of just come down to the last few seconds? We have seen in the APAC region, guys, that's not as prevalent. The Oceanic region, of course, has its own way with things. A good start for Rufflecopter, though, winning that basement site. They were a little bit slow to get going at the very beginning of the round. Credit to Josh on the vigil, but he did get undone in the end with the wallbang.
I could hear your voice then, Zonox, and I
I could do. I had to stop
didn't
to,
like
just
it,
to
didn't
listen.
like it very much.
Ah, shush.
Wow. It only took us 2.5 minutes, and now we can start talking about upstairs. So we are in our element right now, which is awesome to see.
Well, I mean, not a repeat from Knights. That, for me, is actually the discussion here, that they don't want to repeat basement. I mean, there was only one round. I didn't even think it was really that bad of a round either.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that maybe had Josh been a bit more effective on the roam and maybe didn't get wallbang there, which arguably was a little bit unlucky, that maybe the Knights could have won that round, because once he was sort of cleared, I don't know, again, that like late round execute on site was super strong from Ruffle, a continuation from last night. So I think that the Knights, for the rest of this defensive half, probably need to try and extend and delay as much offsite, because the closer that the attack gets, the slimmer their chances really are of winning the round. I think another thing to mention in this one is the operator picks as well, right? You've got a Rooney in play, only recently got taken out of quarantine, and yeah, Warden as well, a direct counter to Boydie, who stuck the Ying. So I really like that 6 pick from Juicy.
See if it has an impact in this particular round. I mean, Boydie made that push through Freezer in the previous round, which was successful in finding, well, ultimately 2 kills. One of them not by his own doing, though. That was a team kill from Knights' part, but you're putting the pressure on the board and things happen. The Rooney, intrigued to see how this plays out as well.
This is super quick. This is super, super quick from the attack. I mean, Campo bouncing already inside of Kitchen. Often teams can struggle to get control below here and establish Verd, and sometimes the defense will actually have presence below. Sure, they've reinforced, but no one's actually really holding it. So we're already a minute into the round, and Ruffle can start pressuring the site from below. That said, they need to be careful, of course, of roamers, and Hayward is lurking down below, and he might be able to come up late and find a couple of picks. Well, this could be a close engagement rear stage, if Sage is aware. Actually, no, they're on the same team. Look, okay, that was a bad moment for me.
Yeah, look, you kind of confused me there for a second.
Sorry,
Low pressure though from Rufflecopter early on to the round. Minute 40, they got Vert control outside on the balcony as well. Sajon getting pressured here on the stairs. Does he make the decision to fall back or take the engagement? Nothing's going to come of it just yet. In fact, it's actually going to be Rufflecopter who fall back. Just slowing down over the last 30 seconds. They're in position, Rufflecopter.
Engagement down below, though. Critical one between Campo and Hayward.
Oh, Juicy.
Still on the bottom floor, but that's a good nade in the meantime. 3 players stacked outside the double window. They'll be looking to send out some Candelas, flash the opponents in sight, try to get that plant down. It looks like it's popping up right now.
Yeah. Orange is going to start to get that plant down now. They're going to be able to get control. If he sticks this, they've got the window control as well. Diffuser's down and planted. 2 kills there quickly, though, for the Knights. Does make it a 3 versus 3. Bouncing's going to go back outside. Boydie, though, gets caught through the hole in the wall. Josh is down at the moment, so it's just Dino and Sage on. In fact, he's going to go for the pickup. Sage just falls back at the last second. As Campo and Bouncing.
Watch it from below.
But if he gets... Oh, nice kill onto Josh, though. That was so vital. Can he get the second one as well? Sajon has to find 2. Doesn't quite get it. Now Bouncing's in that position where, as you mentioned, guys, from below can actually watch the diffuser. Dino's sticking it. He's on it for now. Does he know? Nah, he doesn't do a digital.
Ha ha ha. Way to do Digi a bit dirty. There is actually contemplating between using an Ash Charge and shooting with the R4C, and in the end, he made the right call. The Ash Charges don't do as much damage these days, so that could have been a real opportunity for him to have fluffed that up. So, good composure in the end there. Rufflecopter secure 2 rounds straight. And now, I mean, is this getting a little bit scary for the Knights? They haven't looked overly convincing on either side. And if they lose 3 in a row, then really, I mean, that's very scary because it means that they can't defend any of the sides unless they're going to end up heading over to Dining, which could be a real possibility as well after this one.
But we set the precedent, though, didn't we, by saying that the attacker side on Oregon is favored. So Rufflecopter kind of just doing what they need to do. Yes, winning basements, nice. Kid Storms is obviously the big one. We harp on about it, or at least I do. And at the end of the day, they can only do, they can only play the sites and the rounds that are in front of them. Their attack first, it is what it is. You just still got to get the job done. And Knights is a team that can ultimately shut you down if you don't do your job. They're doing that. They're putting the pressure on the Knights, on the scoreboard, and that's all that they can do right now. And Knights will probably start to feel it, Gus. I mean, if they go down like 3-0 here, for a team that already lost to Elevate yesterday, the mental pressure would start to mount.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning for the Knights. On the other side of Ruffle, though, I'm admiring their confidence, still sticking the Ying despite Gordon being played once again here, which would have been quite predictable. So Hayward will be looking to have a big impact in this round. He can pop off. I mean, he was one of the top-rated players in the league last year, so keep an eye on him on the Warden to get some work done. As Rufflecopter, they all spawn over towards Big Tower, so we might see a rear stage execute here from the attack, which basically nullifies any of the setup over towards Kitchen, which I think the Knights have extended to.
Well, the Warden, I don't know if that played much of an impact in the last round. To be fair, there wasn't much Knights really could do. Once Juicy was flushed out, they were able to just get a pretty comfortable plant down. Not too many issues there. Just trying to figure out how many players Knights have got sort of roaming around. It seems like 3 of them are sitting in meeting at the moment.
Well, the goal here really for Ruffle is to try and get that main wall open. They'll likely use Hot Shot for that, maybe even OJ. But then they need to, of course, flush out some of these positions on site. Oh, bouncing. That's aggressive. 5-0 so far in the first 3 rounds, and that's 2. Not much you can do against an aggressive Ash like this. The Knights struggling to win their ones. Bouncing can lock down that split angle, and now it's up to the likes of Josh to try and retake and find a pick. If he loses this, though, the round's over. Narrowly avoids with his life.
There's just no pressure, though, at all on Rufflecopter because Knights are just all sitting on side of the moment, getting picked apart. We saw Bounce and push in, does finally go down. Punished by Dino. They're at Kitchen Corridor. Gets a Secco on here, and they're definitely back into the round, but if he loses this trade, I mean, I don't see a 4v1 happening at all. Just missing that engagement. Still a lot of time on the clock as well. Minute 15 in the round. It's not going to do anything. Oh, the timing, though. The frag grenade from Cambo. He definitely would have got the kill there had he not been priming that nade. And in the end, it's like a net draw. They just both fall back to the same position. Minute left. No one's touched anyone. Oh, he found the angle, but he just didn't shoot. Dino's got 2. In the blink of an eye, he's now got 3 for the round. It's a 2 versus 2, 50 seconds. And this is just starting to fall away from Rufflecopter.
Oh, Dino could find yet another. Lights up Boyd, who's now half HP as Hayward gets taken down. Didn't have much of an impact in this round. And it's up to Dino to find the last 2, get the ace for the round. He has the diffuser nearby. He can play off that. Boydie and Hotshot, they both know it's right there. They need to try and collect it, but they can't. Dino holding firm.
He does have information on both of them as well, though. Knows that they're going to be able to get that diffuser. Give it up, move away, and just try and rotate off that area. Now knows they've got the diffuser. Drops down into meeting. We'll head back over towards Kitchen. 13 seconds left. Not going to be able to deny this, or maybe will. The shield. He knows they're right there. Is he going to push or not? He does push, but Boydie will punish him. Rufflecopter have won 3 from the first 3 rounds here on Oregon.
Wow. The slits in the deployable shield proving fruitful there for Boydie. That's 3 straight for Ruffle. Such a valiant effort there from Dino. I mean, he's literally the only player having an impact in that round. Everyone else died. Hayward spent the entire round watching split in case the attack tried to pinch when they really weren't. So something lacking in the intel department there for the defense. And yeah, it was up to Dino to try and be a bit of a hero. But unfortunately, he couldn't do it all. And Ruffle, they are playing super well right now.
Yeah, they are.
Honestly, I can't fault them on too many things. Yes, that round was a little bit spicy, and they probably got baited into Dino a little bit too much there, but they put it off in the end and clutched it out.
How much of it, though, is... I don't want to take anything away from Rufflecopter there. As you said, they're playing absolutely amazing right now. Bouncing really just opening up that entire round for them as a team. But Knights just seemingly don't look awake right now defensively. Their roam game hasn't worked at all. Like, whenever they've tried it, it was just shut down in the first round quite easily. We saw in that last round in particular, it was like 3 on site. They just got picked apart. It just seems like nothing's really working for them so far. In saying that, though, we kind of expect the attacking teams to do well here on Oregon. So might just keep things in check for now before, we switch later.
Yeah, I believe we were in a tactical timeout there. So, of course, now in 2021, coaches for the teams in online games can now call timeouts similarly to offline events on LAN. Of course, with the new pause feature, which is really cool to see. I believe it would have been the Knights that would have called that there. We could probably get confirmation on that. I'd be very surprised if Ruffle, after 3 wins straight, would call a timeout. But that's a great opportunity for the Knights to try and reset and work out what the hell is going wrong, because you shouldn't be losing 3 rounds straight on Oregon.
It was Knights that did call the timeout, though. No surprise, really. Yeah, we go back down to basement, which, of course, we saw in the very first round. Rufflecopter winning that one quite comfortably after the pressure we saw from them applied over towards Big Tower, getting that early kill, and then just sort of pushing. It was Boydie pushing through Freezer that really found the majority of the frags. There wasn't too much in way of counter pressure from Knights at all. And the question will be, do they pull back from that kind of... It wasn't even a heavy roam. Like, they didn't even heavy roam in the first round. They only had, like, 2 players roaming off site. No Mozzie, though. They do keep the Vigil and Sajon on the Legion. So maybe a bit more of, like, a defensive roam potentially could be the play here for Knights.
Yeah, maybe. So far, it's looking like Rufflecopter is setting up to try and clear that more efficiently and as a unit. We saw last time it was really a one-man show. I believe it was bouncing, trying to solo clear Josh on that Vigil, but this time they're stacking on tower, draining out for one another, and might look to push in together, which I think is really good to see, and will only speed up that clear, make it a little bit more efficient, and open up the opportunity to trade those picks.
Pressure on Campo. I don't know if Knights are in a position here to be swinging around. Just missing that one onto Bouncin. That would have been a huge frag, because Bouncin has been popping off so far here on Oregon. 6 kills in the first 3 rounds. They had to take it off the Ash from the board. Knights would have been in a really good position for the remainder of the round. Missed chance, though, which has happened a couple of times for Knights in this series. A few missed chances.
I just want to talk about Dino for a second. He has been looking so sharp. Last night, he was playing so well. Just his mechanics are on point at the moment. And so far here this evening on Oregon, it's looking really strong as well, despite the rest of the Knights struggling a little bit. So props to him for stepping up.
Boydie.
We need to continue to. Yeah, Boydie. Trying to solo push blue. So despite Ruffle stacking and trying to clear some of these positions, it doesn't seem to really be that effective, and they're still struggling. It looks like they're now going to rotate over towards Bunker and clear that instead.
Opening up meeting as well, trying to just get rid of 2 players for Knights here on the second floor. Bouncin's been downed. Didn't quite get to see how that one happened, but it is Dino, as you said, who has been playing very well. Not just tonight, but also last night. Campo's bound 2 elsewhere. Boydie, though, going to be eliminated through the wall.
What? He's just standing in front of a breach and gets shot in the back of the head. So that was very questionable there. It leaves OJ and Hotshot now in the 2-on-3. If Hotshot finds this, it could be winnable. But he doesn't hit a single bullet. And now they're disjointed, separated as OJ tries to enter the site. The player inside of Freezer lights him up as Hotshot pushes down the main stairs. But that Banshee will give away the sound cue. His teammate drops, and now he's left in a 1-on-3.
Yeah, it's much better from Knights. Don't see a chance here for Hotshot. Doesn't shoot. Josh does. Knights on the board for the first time here tonight. They win their first round. 3-1.
Yeah, I think the most confusing thing about that round for me was the player getting shot right in front of a breach or draining. So maybe there was a miscommunication that the wall had been opened and he wasn't aware. Not too sure exactly what happened there, but it was a free pick for the defense. The Knights capitalized and they finally get a round on the board. Still need to win 2 more though to even out the half. So by no means easy from here. We saw a pretty efficient top take from the attack last time over towards double window. So if they go for that again, I'm keen to see how the Knights try and counter that sort of playstyle.
Had the pressure down as well in Kitchen, so that vert pressure plus double window just seemingly overwhelmed Knights really in that round that we played Kid Storms last time. But just on that last round, I thought that just came down to Knights playing better. They were able to contain Rufflecopter from getting into meeting for quite a bit longer as well. Didn't really give up much ground. And when they did fall back down onto that basement site, they were just a lot more methodical. The big one was Boydie. I don't even know how he dies there. I don't know exactly what happened. He was on drone. They opened up the Rio or something. I didn't quite get to see it, but that really just changed the round. You know, it feels like if Bouncing goes down or Boydie goes down, Rufflecopter do lose a lot of that firepower. As I mentioned sort of at the start of that last round, Dino had the chance to kill Bounce like almost immediately. And that's just a chance you don't want to let go begging. Fortunately for Knights, they did win the round. They're on the board 3-1. It's a huge opportunity now over to Kids Dorms for Rufflecopter to get back in the winning side of things.
3 C4s here from the Knights in this round. So they might try and play vertically, help with any sort of plant denial, and maybe, I mean, there's even a couple of other cheeky C4 throws you can set up for the likes of the game's push as well, which it actually looks like Ruffle is shaping up for. So remember, passing our minds back to the previous attack, we saw Ruffle stack the main window, abuse the Candelas and enter from that way, but it looks like maybe they're going to go for a little bit more of a traditional take here. We've got the 2-3 split, 2 of course over towards Big Tower, and 3 pushing from the game side or the bedroom side, which is a little bit more typical here in Oregon, and probably what the Knights would be anticipating.
Yeah, this is more of the stock standard here from Rufflecopter. I've got to say that I think this probably plays into the hands of Knights. Any sort of structured play, Knights will prefer. They know how to deal with it. But hey, I mean, the way that Rufflecopter are hitting their shots right now, they can just win a few of their 1v1s. Huge opportunity here for them.
Oh,
Speaking of that, though.
Yeah, not bad there from Sage, and it looks like that was actually on the roam. So that's Bouncing taken down. He's been quite impactful on this map so far. I believe if we can have a quick look at the extended stats, he is top fragging. So taking that Ash off the board is really quite important. Thanks, Mandy. There we go, 6 and 3. So shutting him down is really nice there for the Knights. And Stage as well, who actually can frag off when required, and that'll give him a nice little confidence boost as well.
Well, Bouncing was 6 and 1. That's now round 4 and round 5 without getting involved. Not going to be ideal for Rufflecopter. Down a player as well, down a fragger. The round's not over yet. Still 1 minute and 5 seconds here, Kid Storms. But they just don't seemingly have a backup plan here for this round. It's sort of continue on regardless of Bouncing being dead or not. Campo expecting to get pinched, and in fact did end up getting pinched. Juicy finds 2 onto OJ and Campo, and really the frags now just flowing for Knights, lighting up the screen. And they're going to make it 3-2 with a big win here on Kids Dorms.
Boydie still having an impact in this round, blinding his teammate, and Josh capitalizes, finds the final pick. And it's a flawless round for the Knights. So they're recovering quite nicely at the moment, and yeah, as you said, Ruffle really just picked apart. It felt like a disjointed attack. I'm not sure how much of that was really the Knights being able to pick it apart, or whether or not Ruffle really just didn't look comfortable in that sort of take. But either way, the Knights now in a great position to even out the half and I guess salvage it a little bit.
Like even a 4-2 half here for Rufflecopter is probably not end of the world for Knights. I don't think it's end of the world. 3-3 is still a great half though for Knights, considering they were down 3-0. All comes down to, though, of course, that second half and how you're able to perform. We head to Meeting in Kitchen for the final round of this first half of the first game of the night. Long way to go in this, though. Even if it is just the best of 1, Guz, it's by no means over. Knights now just showing what they're made of. It feels like they've woken up in the last 2-3 rounds.
Yeah, the Knights have been activated here a little bit. Surprising that we're not actually going to see them attempt Dining Kitchen in this half, or on this map at least. I mean, maybe if we head to OT, but of course incredibly doubtful because I haven't played it in regulation. Instead opting to go Meeting, which for some teams is a personal preference. They just prefer playing that objective. Of course, it didn't quite work out for them last time. Good control was established by Ruffle earlier, or early into the round over towards Big Tower, and they converted that despite it being a little bit tight at the end. So keen to see if they go for the same approach here. The operator selections on the spawns would suggest they probably will. So the question then lies in, what are the Knights going to do to better their performance compared to that first attempt?
You say that like they didn't do well on this site last time. Well, they didn't do it well on any of the sites last time, Knights. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they've come back on the other two. Kind of expect them to come back on this one as well and tie it up 3-3. Kind of learn your lessons approach here from the Knights on Oregon. This is where Bouncing's got to be careful because there has been pressure from Knights. He almost got his head ripped off a couple of rounds ago from Dino in that spot too. We did obviously see Bouncing die pretty early on as well in that last round. Hasn't quite been the same Bouncing as he was in the first 3 rounds. Needs to get on the board here.
Bit aggressive there from Josh. I mean, Hotshot's trying to work the wall and get it open. Created a small little line of sight, and Josh, whilst falling back, took some shots but doesn't hit its mark. But that does do some damage. Hotshot now down to 50 HP. That means he'll need to be quite cautious for the remainder of the round as he tries to get that wall open. Bouncing, meanwhile, flushed back with a pretty aggressive smoke grenade there from Juicy. Not quite sure if that's the best decision using it this early into the round, but does apply some pressure as Dino gets the first pick. That's OJ taking down, who has been quite a strong support so far on this map. So good start for the Knights.
The biggest difference is the last time we saw this site, Bouncing was able to just walk into meeting basically and just find 2-3 kills. Now he's getting absolutely pressured, cannot get near meeting at all whatsoever. Pushed back, taking damage. They've lost the player now from the Nitrocell. That's OJ down. It's a stark contrast, although Campo does find one. Josh still holding this very vital position. And with Boydie's elimination and a minute left on the clock, Knights are definitely in position here. Hot shot. I think he's going to get... Yeah, he's dead there. As soon as Dino gets that cross and then Hotshot's just stuck. Campo does get the headshot though onto Dino, fighting back here. Rufflecopter not giving away too easily this round, but unfortunately Knights are just a little bit sharper right now. Campo does get the down onto Sagion. Can make it a 1 versus 2.
No nades left in the pocket though, so it'll all need to be done with the G36. He is rocking the Knight skin.
Dead.
Against the Knights, but he gets taken down. And that is a very strong first half here from the Knights. They bring it back, and 3-3 will be the scoreline.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half of this first match of the night here for Oceanic Nationals. 3-3. First half, guys, a quick 3-0 to Rufflecopter, and then a quick 3-0 to Knights, and we are all tied up once again where we started off.
Yeah, I guess my throw at the end, I said that it was a strong half for the Knights. I'd probably put some quotation marks around that. I probably didn't emphasize it well enough. The second half of the first half, the last 3 rounds were strong. I wouldn't say before the second quarter. I mean, we're getting pretty mathematical here, which is a bit of a pitfall, but to simplify it, the last 3 rounds for the Knights were quite strong. I feel like they actually learnt from their mistakes made in the first 3. They made those adaptations and they pulled it off. So now, basically, the match is nullified, right? No team has the lead. We're at 3-3. And now the Knights, arguably on the favored side of the attack, can really start to get to work, try and chip away against Rufflecopter, who, all props to them, are playing super aggressive here. I mean, this is quite the extension.
But that's the thing, and I mean, I could be completely wrong here, but I feel like in those last 3 rounds, Knights was able to counter Rufflecopter's aggression, try and just stop them a little earlier rather than allowing Rufflecopter to kind of get into these cheeky spots and find a few early frags in the round, which is what they were kind of doing in the first 3 rounds, at least in particular. And then after that, Knights are like, right, well, let's kind of stop them a little bit earlier, not let them get 2 feet away from the site and find some picks.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Knights really displayed their strength, which is adaptation. It's an important one to have, and they were able to feed into that. Question will be, how long does it take them to warm up into this half? Because they don't really have that opportunity, I would say, on the attack to adapt as much.
And
they really are struggling. So.
And I kind of feel like as well, Roffelcopter, do they keep playing with that aggression here now on the defense? When the Mozzie
Oh yeah.
Castle, you kind of sense that they're going to be having some sort of roam game. But how aggressive is the question? Well, we'll find out very shortly. Campo just sitting in kitchen.
I mean, so far, the Mozzie Mute combo is actually causing some pretty big issues. We've already seen multiple occasions where the Knights are trying to gather intel and they just cannot get their drones near this roam to actually work out exactly what's going on. Are there players there? What utilities in place? And it looks like now they're really just going in quite blind. A shoulder peek there from Campo. Quite risky, but gains the intel now on Josh, whose position has been revealed, and that can be relayed to the rest of Ruffle.
As vice versa, though. I guess they do confirm at least Campo's position inside a kitchen, so it goes both ways, but probably more beneficial for Roffelcopter than anything. They get some information. Campo doesn't have to really move. There's a trade, at least, when it's all said and done. Boydie, OJ, and Campo, though, are all hanging around close by to each other. So in the event that if they do find, say, Josh, and he might get one, there should be the trade.
This is so risky. Josh doesn't have any drones that he's working off here. No one else really supporting. So this could be a big play from Josh, or it could be a fail. It'll be the latter. Campo with a clean shot can now fall back towards site. Now there's only 3 members of the attack up. Only a couple of drones in hand. They're going to have to get really gritty here in this plan to try and pull something up.
Knights are just like, look, if they're not on site, let's just go down into the basement and see what happens.
Oh,
OJ just copping the down. The numbers are on the side of Roffelcopter here. Although it was on the side of Roffelcopter. OJ's going to get picked back up by Campo, who's having a very big round here to kickstart the second half. Hayward going to get the diffuser down in a 2 versus 2 night. Tressel is going to be successful from OJ. Not only denying the plant, but also finding the kill onto Hayward. Dino's not going to have enough time here. Does run in, will start the plant, but it's a 2 versus 1, and they know exactly where he is. Round win, Roffelcopter.
Good work there from Ruffle. The roam pays dividends. It did get a little bit scary towards the end there. I think it was Hayward that picked up a 2K on towards site from Pillar. Then we saw the res come out, but that was a great res at that. OJ still had that C4 in the pocket. Nailed the C4 there onto default. What? Res?
He's not dead.
Res, revive, pick up. It's all the same.
Anyway, good.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Good round win for
Look at what I'm
Roffelcopter.
working with here. Like, oh my. No wonder you're going 0-4 in the predictions, mate. You don't even know the game.
I'm about to be 0-5 if Roffelcopter win this game.
Well, no one's going to get it right, so it's okay.
Kids dorms. I mean, I know I always say this is an important site, but I'm not going to say it. I'm actually going to say this is an important round. If Roffelcopter win this, they go 5-3. They edge closer to that match point. And the pressure then just sort of absorbs back onto the Knights. Knights kind of counter-pressured Roffelcopter in terms of that scoreboard. You know, you're down 3-0, you tie it up in the half, okay, breathe a sigh of relief. You're back in it, you can control the game from here, especially on the attack on Oregon. You lose that opening round on basement. It's really back on Knights, I feel like, to make something happen here.
I totally agree. Ruffle, they're just playing their game, right? They're playing super aggressive, not afraid to extend. They haven't fallen into the trap, which some teams do, in which they overthink and they fall into a bit of a shell, I guess, against strong teams. Ruffle have just completely thrown that mentality out the wind and said, we're going to play our way. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I mean, so far, it's looking pretty impressive. Not too many teams in recent history, of course, except for yesterday, have been able to really push the Knights hard at all. They've always been that team, maybe just under wildcard, that will just wipe the floor and beat every team below them. But Ruffle, the new challengers in OCN, putting up a really valiant effort.
Yep. There's actually one of the notes I wrote down for this as well, is that I felt Roffelcopter would put up a strong fight, but Knights would just be too clinical. I'm waiting to see that clinical prowess, though, from the Knights on the attack. They showed it in the end, at least, on their defense, but see what they have here. It looks like it might just be stock standard here onto Kids Dorms. Attic push, games push. Nothing over towards double window. I mean, Hayward's kind of close by to Arsenal, but Armory, but OJ and Campo are going to have to be dealt with down below. It's pretty standardized right now. I don't think there's anything too surprising.
I would agree. Knights with some decent progression, getting the games all open, and that's also a great pick from Sage. As you said, they'll need to clear these players from below. Campo is one of those taken out. Keen to see if maybe Ruffle now try and get all members back on towards site. They'll need to now as Dino finds that pick. Low on HP, but he gets away with that engagement. Same with 3-on-5 with still a lot of time to work with. I mean, we've only just eclipsed the halfway point, and the Knights have a lot to work with, but Dino does get down, so Ruffle still standing firm.
OJ's still roaming around on this first floor, only 2 above now for Rufflecopter, so it's a very vacant site. Only Boydie and Hotshot. Hotshot was over in Attic. Dino's down. Hotshot not going to move from this position. It's not a chance. So they've still got, at least considering there's only 2 players up on the second floor for Rufflecopter, there's actually still a lot of sightlines covered from those 2. OJ probably needs to start maneuvering somewhere else and try and get involved.
Does Juicy know there's a player here in pit? Oh, I don't think he does. That nade would suggest otherwise. Nah, surely Hotshot can swing wide here with the shotgun. Sees the barrel of the gun, hits the shot. It's a 2-on-4 now. Oh, that's aggressive from Hotshot. Doesn't get traded immediately, but surely he's cut off. Surely he cannot get out of this position as the C4 hits the mark there on to Dino. I don't think he can. He needs to try and get back towards site. Josh cuts that off, and OJ is spotted at the top of White Stairs. He too will be taken down, and the Knights will get the round.
How did he not get that kill peeking out of the window? I don't actually know. I think he got off it too early.
I think he just whiffed it.
Yeah, whiffed it and then expected the trade, but yeah, I mean, look, not enough time to really go back through Big Tower and roam down below. There's like what, 15 seconds left in the round. He would have been out of position. He had like 1 health anyway. Did everything he could. This was a nice kill from Hotshot. Thought maybe the round could be salvageable. There's the whiff.
Oh, yikes.
How low did he get him?
Like 25 HP, so
yeah.
1 more shot would have killed him. Pretty unfortunate. I still would say that that play on the rappel wasn't really having a huge impact on that round anyway. So even if he had got that pick, he still would have had to get back in towards site by dropping pit, right? And we saw Josh actually cut that off in the end anyway. So it would have been a nice stat for Hot to get in the kills column, but it really wouldn't have meant much. It was really just honestly a constellation. So a bit frustrating that he didn't hit it.
Was it a constellation, guys? Was it?
Well, it would have been if he hit it. It would have
constellation?
Constellation? Did I say constellation like the stars?
Stars in the moon, out at night.
No night maps in Siege anymore, so no constellations to be found.
So 4-4 now, all tie up again, back and forth. I do like this though for Rufflecopter. I mean, going back and forth, if it does continue this way, the likelihood that this at least goes to OT is pretty strong, right? So, and I think, as we said it in the pre-show, an OT for Rufflecopter, even if it's a loss, is still a massive result. That's still 1 point that you wouldn't have got last season.
100%. I think that realistic target here, especially if the Knights really switch on here and play at their best or near to the best, that would be a great result for Ruffle. But I mean, I don't want to write Ruffle off at all at the moment. I mean, there's a great chance that they actually do get 3 points in this matchup by winning it in regulation. That said, they'll need to continue to step up in the face of Knights' reactivity, which we saw on the back half of the first round, and I'm sure that trend will continue where the Knights learn from their mistakes on a couple of these initial attacks, and they can carry on that knowledge later into the map.
Seeing the Echo come out, haven't seen this in a hot minute. OJ playing ring around the rosy of the Echo drone and the drone just missing each other down below. Will this be a slower round from Knights though, considering, well, the last round wasn't exactly rapid fire, they were still in a pretty decently paced position.
Gotta say, that was really well played there from Boydie, swinging Zulu and getting his 6x Kairos off the wall. Man, some of these gadgets are tongue twisters, but that was really good work from him. Might not have a massive impact on the round, but still well played nonetheless, as the rest of the Knights look to try and get control of Big Tower. So it's quite a similar execute by the looks of things from what we saw from Ruffle. He will be more proficient though. That really is the question that needs to be answered here.
Hotshot and OJ still over in kitchen. Bouncing up above on that second floor. Campo just loitering around in meeting. Not sure if Boyd is going to really find much action over where he is, as Campo does get the opening kill onto Haywood, and that's huge for Rufflecopter. Dino, an opportunity to get one back there and tie it back up. 4-4 goes missing. Like a few things that have happened for the Knights tonight. Sejon does get one onto Campo though. The Aruni is down. Dino's still struggling over here in Garage.
Yeah, Dino really cut off well here by Ruffle, and these players as well do have angles in towards the site, but Juicy
Juicy's
is
planting.
getting that plant down. Can it be stuck? That's the question, as Bouncin does find one, but do they have the angles onto the plant? And no, Bouncin narrowly misses that and leaves it in the post plant.
Laser array still up from Aruni as well, but I mean, this is tough actually because of the Rio being quite open. It's not like he can get a safe defuse on this plant. I mean, this is going to be really difficult for Rufflecopter, even more so when Juicy just snipes Bouncin. 3 kills in the round. That's round over. Thought it was round over. As soon as that plant went down, I didn't see a way back for Rufflecopter. Knights just kept the foot on the throat.
Yeah, 100% agree. Very, very tricky post plant there. The major mistake there from Ruffle was allowing that plant to go down. They didn't have the lines of sight. I doubt they had the intel because no one was really reacting to that plant going down very well at all. I think maybe Bouncing could have got the angle there, but he was a little bit too late, so unfortunate for him. But if you're a Knights fan, you can be happy now because your team's finally leading on this map.
That's credit to Knights though. They got the frag onto Campo, who was sitting in meeting. Once they get that kill, there's no pressure at all from Ruffle. No one comes over quick enough to sort of get into that position that Campo was in, or at least just have an eye on it. You mentioned Bouncing, but it just gets here a little bit too late. Unfortunately for Rufflecopter, as soon as Campo went down, the round kind of went down with him. And we head down as well to basement. 4-5, Knights edging closer to maybe ending this round and spoiling the hopes and dreams of Rufflecopter, who have quietly so been really amazing in this matchup.
Yeah, and it looks like Ruffle again will try and execute a roam. They're bringing the castle, the mute Mozzie combos, so that is very much indicating that will be the case. We saw it quite effective last time Ruffle defended below. They won that round off the back of slowing down the attack quite significantly, and it was a bit of a hectic late execute in which Rufflecopter had the C4s to deny the plant. So they'll be looking to replicate that. And the Knights, of course, will be looking to be more efficient on that roam clear, try and find that intel and act upon it a little bit quicker, try not to stall out.
So the last time out, a lot of the focus was around that kitchen area. Josh really couldn't get himself involved. Got, as he said, sort of shut out of it really on that west side. The Rufflecopter themselves now down 4-5. Do they keep the tempo going, or do they pull it back a little bit? They don't have to bring it back to, say, a full turtle on site, but just making sure that they don't lose a player early or two, that they can win that late round push from Knights when it does come through at some point.
Player above here, near the top of White
Bouncing.
Stairs. Dino looking to maybe push that out, but I don't think he really has intel. Sage, though, is droning ahead. Bouncing hears it, thinks about falling back, but doesn't commit. Dino to capitalize. He is looking so damn sharp right now. Juicy as well will pile onto the pain. Now Ruffle left in a 3-on-5.
It's I literally was saying it all of 10 seconds ago that this is what they didn't really want to happen. You lose 1 or 2 early. Trying to play this roam game, that if Knights find those kills, that's the game. That's the round. It's over. At that point, what are they going to be able to do in a 2v5 or a 3v5 scenario with like 2 minutes left on the clock? The round's over.
Jeez.
Flawless indeed from Knights, and it all just comes down to winning those ones early on in the round and shutting down that roam game of Rufflecopter.
I think this match really just encapsulates how good the Knights are at reading their opponents. And sure, they might lose a round against a particular setup or strat or operator or whatever the case may be, but when they attempt it for a second time, they look so much better. I mean, wow, like, how efficient was that? I'm still trying to think back to the last time that the Knights were trying to attack that site, and it looked pretty bad, to be completely honest. Like, it was super slow, super rough, lack of intel, and basically, it was the exact opposite at that time. We saw the Knights attack super aggressively, just get in the map. Drones were there, they played off it, and I mean, it happened that quickly we couldn't even catch it all. The round was over.
I think this has just been a staple of Knights so far in this matchup, has been sort of second chances and second goes and learnings and lessons, right? They kind of started a little bit slow in the matchup, went down 3-0, and then they obviously picked themselves up a bit and improved on really all three sites. And I think you can almost say the same as well here for their attack and really just sort of shutting down Rufflecopter. As really the entire match has gone on, Knights just keep edging their way as the superior team, and that's been noticeable. That was, of course, attack timeout from Rufflecopter. The down match point now to Knights. They need to win the next 2 rounds in a row if they're going to at least salvage a point from this, because it was only 2 rounds ago that it was 4-4. It was this sort of back and forth style going on, at least for the first 2 rounds. I really felt Rufflecopter would walk away with this with at least a point. Now I'm not so sure, Guz.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Ruffle did use timeout. We saw the Knights use that quite early in the map, and they actually bounced back quite well from that. So maybe we'll see similar here from Ruffle, depending on just how effective that timeout was. Keep in mind, of course, it is only a very short amount of time to quickly go over things. Try and work out probably where they're going to go for this round, and then the preceding round, if they manage to survive. The great thing for the Knights side on the flip side is they have secured a point, at least. Their first point in OCN, believe it or not, because they didn't get any from last night. So I'm sure they'll be happy with that. Maybe the pressure now is relieved a little bit, and they'll be like, hey, like, we're actually playing all right now, let's just close it out. Whereas maybe earlier they were sort of stressed. They might have been stressing a little bit, saying, hey guys, like, hello, wake up. We don't want to lose 2 maps in a row. That would not look good.
Oh boy, that's so cheeky. Well, Juicy had no idea. And that does give Rufflecopter at least a leg up in this round. 5-4 for literally the entire round here on out. And edges them a little closer to at least making it 5-6 overall. But yeah, look, I agree with you. Maybe Knights were just a little bit slow to wake up in this match, but their raw skill showing through.
Bit close. Yeah, not a great start though for the Knights, as you highlighted. I mean, that's 2 nades taken down. Sure, they still have 4 in the pocket, but it is also one of the hard breaches taken down as well. So Dino has a lot of work to do. If he wants to get the hatches, then I mean, that's at least 8 pallets down the drain. That limits what he can do on site late round over towards Pillar or Blue Bunker as well. So not a great position for the Knights, by no means unwinnable. Hayward needs to win this though, and doesn't.
Man.
Maybe that has flipped the round around, if you would, because this is very difficult to come back from. As long as Ruffle plays smart here and don't throw picks, they should be able to hold on.
Didn't quite catch how Campo died there. Josh sitting in freezer. Just going to try and drone himself forward there. Bouncer knows exactly where he is though. That's another drone gone.
Oh, he gets out. You didn't see him.
Yeah, that just gives Bouncer a lot more room now to move around as well.
Really?
You can see there they have diffuser, so they're changing up sort of their tactics and their positioning based on that.
I was going to say, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this aggression, but if you do have that kit down, it can be wise to sometimes play off that. The Knights will be aware of where the kit is, whether or not they know just how aggressive it's being held in Big Tower. Who knows? As Josh and Sage, they're still pushing in towards site. Josh trying to get the angle there on the boost, believes the player's behind the box, but is actually to the hard left, sends out some utility to clear the shield. He allows Hot Shot to swing, but trades it eventually. It's now Josh and Dino left to try and get this diffuser and get back towards site.
Dino's got like no health though. Yeah, Boyd just breathes on him and pushes him over. 3-1 now. And obviously for Rufflecopter, they still have the diffuser in their sights. Josh, though, with a headshot onto Boydie. I mean, surely he doesn't just make one of the plays of the tournament already. Grabs the diffuser and he can go back down free of charge. OJ and Bouncing in a 1 versus 2.
10 seconds remaining.
Oh, no, wait. No, wait!
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Had he got that, guys, I don't know what could have happened for the remainder of that round.
Yeah, Josh looking pretty sharp there, but his hands were full. It's a good round there from Rafflecopter. They survive for at least a little bit longer. Of course, still match point for the Knights, but they only have one more round to close it out and get 3 points in this match. Rafflecopter looking to steal that away and at least claim one by heading this match to overtime. It will be the first overtime for OCN if they manage to pull it off.
This point is so important. Look, I understand that we've got 7 play days to get through, 7 games everyone plays, and there's going to be a lot of teams that do get a point or two here or there that of course messes with the 0-3 system that we used to have. But getting this point early means that your round differential is not as important. Obviously, it all depends on how everything plays out by the end of the season. But for instance, if Rafflecopter say force this OT then lose, they go actually to 4 points, which right now would actually put them in first place and above order. That's sort of what this extra point does versus say a regular time loss where they just walk away with nothing. A 5-7 loss is more heartbreaking now than say last season, right? Because you were just that one round away from at least taking something from this matchup. And rightfully so, Rafflecopter have deserved at least 1 point from this.
Yeah, we often see tiebreakers play a pretty big role in how the final standings can look at the end of a stage. We've seen it last year, and this year, as you sort of were mentioning, won't be any different, but it won't be necessarily the round differential as it was previously. It's going to be a single round here or there because you've been able to push a loss to OT. So Ruffle, as you mentioned, it'd be huge for them even to just get a single point here.
On the flip side, though, of course, if Knights lose this round, they cannot get all 3 points. It would be 1 or 2. I think you mentioned it before. At least at minimum, they've secured 1, which gets them on the board. Dino going down early is massive. I mean, talk about the 2 players going back and forth for frags in this match, Bouncing and Dino. Bouncing coming up clutch here as Rafflecopter have an opportunity to send this to OT, which would also be our first OT of the season.
That is a gnarly setup there from Bouncing, leaving the left side of games all open and playing behind a shield. Super dirty. I mean, there's a chance that Dino rappelled up there or came up onto the balcony via a vault and had absolutely no idea he was exposed to that angle. So fantastic work there from Bouncing.
Oh.
The pocket strap plays off. Sage narrowly misses a potential trade opportunity there, but OJ survives and can link up with his teammates over towards Pit.
3 in Addict? So this is not something we've actually used to see from Rafflecopter so far in this matchup, guys. This is like anti-roam at this point for them. Like, they are just like on site playing defensive, which could work into the hands of Knights. I think Knights, obviously, I mean, they're just, at this point, if you're Knights, you're checking everything because you don't know what Rafflecopter could be doing or where they could be.
Oh, this could be an engagement. Boydie. Yeah, they've got an aggressive Edwards dining there. May have been able to catch Josh off guard, but thinks better of it and will play top white. I think Josh knows below is clear, but he's still, of course, being cautious of the angles above. A player tucked deep in towards the corner there. Then he might be able to catch off guard. Oh my word. If I'm hotshot, I am not moving a muscle.
There's just no reason. There is absolutely no reason to peek that. Absolutely no reason, and he somehow survives. But his position has been compromised. Hotshot, how are you still alive? It's like a cat. He's got 9 lives. 54 seconds left. But that's massive in the end for Rafflecopter. They keep their play reliant. They now know where Josh is down below. And Josh gets nothing for that other than a little bit of information. But it's not even that much information either.
And he survives a nade, I think, as well on top of that. So that is absolutely disgusting as OJ's taken down below. That's, I believe, the kit dropped as well. It's falling apart here for the Knights. Ruffle really pushing hard here for OT, but the Knights have control of site. Campo and OJ stuck down below. Oh, their options are limited. They're missing their shots. They're hitting the metal bars. Oh my word, this is the messiest gunfight I think I've ever watched in my life. It's the 2-on-3 down.
It up.
On site. Oh my word, it's Josh now in the 1-on-2.
10 seconds left of the round. Josh swings around, catches hot and shot on the left. Campo still alive. Can he deny? No, he's not even remotely close. Josh will get this off. Campo pushing through game through. Oh, he got off it. What are you doing? I'm done. I'm out. I'm out.
Josh.
I'm done. See ya.
Ah, Josh. Look, I'm going to play devil's advocate as, look, I'm probably going to have to talk a bit here as Xenox has literally left. Maybe there was an opportunity there that if he did stick it, he would be taken out. But I just feel like on the balance of all the options you had, sticking it was the highest percentage chance of winning the round.
What do you
Look,
mean sticking as the
production,
highest
what
percentage
production?
chance?
Why are we
It was
looking at a
0
replay of that? Why are we
seconds.
looking at a replay of that? That was disgusting. We're not allowed to
I'm
show
all-
that. That was just, what was that gunfight? There was so much in that round. I was just.
So yeah, it was 0. He literally can't get off that though. If he like as we saw.
There
Oh,
was so
man.
much wrong with that round. I don't even know where to begin. But Ruffle did get OT, so both of these teams will
Yes.
get at least 1 point. The Knights, I don't think we are overjoyed with that result.
Man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too surprised that the match has played out the way it has. To be completely honest, I definitely rate Rufflecopter and their ability to push Knights. I did feel like Knights would have too much for them. I mean, if I had to have had a numbers guess or a numbers prediction, I probably had it like 7-4, 7-5 Knights. And obviously, as you can see, it's now gone to OT. And this is just a free punch now for Rufflecopter. You've got 1 point secured. That was like the ultimate goal. Can you now get a second point to go with it? Both teams can no longer get 3 points. Just to make that clear, it's 2 points for OT win, 1 point for OT loss.
Yep. That's where we stand at the minute. Of course, Ruffle back on the attack now. Really liking some of their aggression that we saw earlier this evening. And I doubt they'll change much. It looks like a pretty similar operator lineup as well. Boydie standing out as one of those players who's played quite well on that Ying and continues to stick it. Juicy. Oh, wow. This is so aggressive from Juicy on the Legion. If this does not pay off, he loses Goo Mines and the Knights will be a man down, but there is potential for him to go big here and find a couple of picks of his own.
Oh, there's a second one as well. Hot shot. Finding Josh.
Oh, no.
There's a third one. What is going on? We're at the 2-minute mark of the round and 3 players are dead for Knights?
Yeah, this is not great. The Knights, I think, are trying to compensate for Ruffle's aggression, maybe, but it's really just not paid off. This round should go the way of Ruffle unless there's some kind of minor miracle. Sure, Dino's been pretty sharp and Hayward can pop off at times as well, but in a 2-on-5, it's looking very, very grim. Maybe Hayward could go for something aggressive, a double window and find a pick, but no, he will not. Hotshot shuts him down, and Dino now needs to clutch up.
So Rufflecopter are going to have overtime match point, guys. It's a fact. So we can, if you want, just start talking about the next round.
Yeah,
Because
because
this one's over.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I mean, yeah. There you have it. That's our confirmation. Ooh,
Wow.
okay.
That was quite... I don't know. Was that quite pathetic from Knights, or was that just Rufflecopter just hitting some clutch shots to begin the round back to back to back?
I don't know.
30, 40 seconds into the round, they find 3 kills that easily.
I'd say it was questionable from the Knights, and well played by Ruffle. I don't think it was absolutely terrible from the Knights. They tried something a little bit different. That aggression over towards Small Tower and some of the players off site. But if you're not winning your ones in that sort of scenario, you're going to lose rounds. It's kind of like that analogy in other sports. Like, you have to win catches to win matches. Well, you need to win your ones to pull off aggressive roams in Siege.
Yeah.
Like, you can have all the strats in the world, but if you want to play aggressive like that, you need to win gunfights, and they just didn't. It took them a minute for the round to just absolutely collapse. So, unfortunate for them, but
I like that word collapse, by the way, and it's about to happen tonight.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
They're about to collapse to a 0-2 start for OCN.
ooh, you're already writing them off.
Mate, I think I've seen enough. I'm on the Rufflecopter bandwagon.
Okay, all right. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm that convinced yet.
You know what
but-
else is going to collapse? My tips. I'm going to go to 0-5.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Look, there's still an opportunity here. Knights on the attack. They showed enough, at least Knights did, on both attack and defense. I feel like, though, this actually might suit Knights a little bit more, rather than Rufflecopter's sort of aggressive, unpredictable attacking style, which evidently paid dividends in the last round. You know, Rufflecopter will be a bit more on the defense. They do like a good aggressive roam as well, but Knights themselves
Oh, Dino.
can take their time here.
Dino's getting spawn peaked from somewhere. I don't know exactly where that was, but gets away with his life nonetheless. That would have been very disappointing had he have fallen. I mean, just looking back at the round history in this match, you'd have to probably back Roffle. They've played this, they attempted to defend this site 3 times. They've won it twice, so that's a pretty good win rate for them. Whereas the Knights, of course, have struggled a little bit.
Yes, but there's the other part of this equation, Gus. Roflcopter have never won 4 rounds in a row. This,
Ooh.
in fact, both teams right now went Roflcopter 3, Knights 3, Knights 3, and Roflcopter 3, and then there was one elsewhere in the middle. Boy, did those short-lived lead. It's now 4-4. Good trade from Josh, a much-needed one as well. If Campo doesn't go down there, you know, having only 4 onto the 5 going in down into basement would have been so difficult for Knights. It's a massive trade. Bouncing up above, OJ will catch out Josh. It's a big player pushing down into Freezer as well. This gets harder and harder for Knights. The more players they lose, Guz.
Yeah, a lot of utility gone begging as well here for the attack. I mean, you've got Josh on the Zelf, Juicy on the Mav. A lot of work can be done by those 2 operators, and they'll have to forfeit that in this round. Bouncing, aggressive over towards a big tower. He won't want to give away his life cheaply here. If anything, he'll want to waste time as much as possible and open up the opportunity for a very late flank. Narrowly misses the shots over towards Satellite Window. But yeah, I think his job is just to post up here. Just try and put some doubt in the backs of the minds of Knights and stop them from pushing him.
He also doesn't want to put himself in a position where he just kind of gets pinched as well. I can't honestly remember who it was, but the very first round, the Vigil got pinched.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh it was. Dino takes a bit of a beating, just falls back. They're going to leave. Bouncing alone over a big tower. 50 seconds left in the round. Overtime match point for Roflcopter. They've just got too much control here. I mean, Dino, they're going to have to push through Laundry or something and just make a rush push onto site with 30 seconds left. Sage is now going to go through Freezer, but Hotshot sitting in there. Oh, he gets naded out by Sageon, though. This can open up Freezer. And a second avenue along with Laundry as well. Bouncing though is going to be roaming in from behind. Does eliminate that throw, and that gives away the position though. I'm not sure if that was the play. Hayward with a good snapshot onto his head. Bouncing goes down. Roflcopter were in position. I thought he would get the kill. And Hayward has just come up so clutch when it matters most. 1 versus 3. OJ, 8 seconds left. Whoever's got the diffuser, do not let it go. He's going to deny it. 4 seconds left. And just run. Hide. You don't have to peek. This is OCN!
Operators, you are out of time.
What?
Roflcopter will take the map against the Knights. I don't know how they pulled that off
Why
in the
was
end.
he even peeking? You just have to hide.
But it's an 8-6 victory. The Knights embarrassed in that final round. They lose the 3-on-1. Huge from Roffle though. They'll be very pleased with that result.
You think? Very pleased. They should be bloody ecstatic with that result. 8-6 win over Knights, who go to 0-2 on the season. The supposed favorites, guys. What has happened? What has transpired here? There's just a giant copter ruffling around in the air, and they're gone 2-0 to start the season. They don't get all 3 points, but hey, they get respect and they get a huge skull.
Wow. Look, I'm just still trying to digest that final round. What in the hell was that, right? We had the plan. Firstly, we had that flank that Hayward shut down out of nowhere, hit an insane 2K to even give his team the chance.
He shot the drone, and that meant Hayward then turned around and he was ready for him to come down Laundry stairs.
Yeah, and then he unfortunately had the kit, couldn't stick it, got shot in the foot, and then the trade wasn't there, but then should have been hit in the end. He tried to run. OJ faced his back to where 2 attackers was and didn't get shot in the back of the head. And he just got away with that.
I love Siege, man. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you said these games tonight. You were saying it before.
Oh, I said it yesterday.
Oh, these are gonna be easy games. Oh, they're gonna be straightforward.
No.
Oh, one-sided. Yeah, nah, mate. You were completely wrong already.
Mate.
Just like your 05 predictions, just absolutely terrible.
Man, look, what can I say, guys? That was intense. That was absolutely intense. I think you mentioned that because yesterday's games, none of them went to OT. All of the games tonight will go to OT.
Oh, jeez. I mean, look at our money's worth. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it could well happen.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know.
look,
It's-
look. Let's get someone in who's probably even happier than us. We're gonna have an interview here with Boydie. Well, geez, he doesn't look happier than us. We're sitting over here pumped, mate. Great smile. Congratulations, firstly, on the win.
Thank
How
you.
does it?
Thank you
How
very
does it
much.
feel? You guys are 2-0 to start the season.
Feels pretty good. We're expecting a very tough game. No, not essentially a win, just it would be a very interesting game. We know Knights weren't trying so as they normally would be, probably saving shots for Apex South, but still was wonders, especially with the new roster changes.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to talk about is you personally and also the team's aggression, right? I think you guys came into this match and just went your hardest. You were bringing the ying, you were playing super aggressive, particularly on attack. Is that a conscious decision from you guys, and were you happy, I guess, with how that sort of transpired throughout the map?
Yeah, we read Nice Like a Book. We knew they'd be banning Capitao. And just, Jaeger instead of Amaya and bring the Ying and Sabuza. Then
How
I think,
how was
one
the...
of
Sorry, I cut you off there. Sorry, finish that.
that was fun. Yeah, after one of the rounds, we knew we repeated the same push, I think, twice, and just like fell apart. Same hold twice, fell apart, and we just knew we need to get more aggressive. Can't just do the same stuff on Knights, so just pick it apart.
How was the comms at the end there, especially just in overtime in general? Did you guys keep it, calm and collected, or was there a little bit of like hype at all?
We're pretty hyped after making it overtime, especially 4-6 down, I believe it was, and got some points at least. And attack favored. We're better on attack on this map than defense, shown from the last 2 nights. And yeah, just we were very, very happy at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you boys post the comms from that final round, because I don't know how the hell OJ clutched that up. I don't think I've ever seen him play that one in
Yeah.
my life. So better
Look,
say that on the
I'm not sure
Rufflecop
Twitter would
Twitter.
allow some of the comments, to be honest.
Yeah, but yeah, potentially.
Well, look, I'm going to let you go, mate. Thank you so much for coming on and having a quick chat. Go and celebrate with the boys and have a few days off as well.
Yep, thank you very much. Cheers, lads.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting him to be as pumped as we were. Maybe it won't hit them for a little bit, Guz, but in the end, a huge win for Rufflecopter. Overtime win. I should probably repeat it. That, of course, it's not 3 points gained, but I mean, they're not going to complain about that, right? They got the win against Knights. Huge.
Yeah, this really honestly throws a spanner in the works. I had Knights as clearly the best team for OCN, but they've literally already lost 2 games. Even if they were to win every game from now on, there's still a very real chance they don't finish first at all. So, wow, honestly, this has just opened the season wide open. Again, congratulations to Roffle. I really loved the explanation there from Boydie. They knew that Knights were going to read into them, but they just stuck to their guns, continued to play aggressive, did the necessary adaptations, and as we can see, the stats reflect that. They got that dub on the board.
It's a good point that you bring up there for Knights. Can they finish first now? There's 5 more games at best. Like they've got 1 point. Like at best, right? You can get 5 wins. With that one overtime loss, I don't think that's going to be good enough. In saying that, you'll mention, guys, not as if there's like a wild card of old that you kind of expect to sweep everyone like 7-0, right? Like maybe there's Order, but is Order at that peak where they can actually go 7-0 or 6-1, for instance? So I would say this: I think Knights would have to win every single game from here on out.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and I guess that leads into the follow-up question: can they win every game from here on out? And their results so far are not convincing. Honestly, I understand what Boydie did mention there a little bit about the whole Apex South v OCN, but honestly, that's crap. If you're playing bad in OCN, that's a bad excuse. It is. It's a bad excuse. I don't care what people say about saving strats and all this rubbish. It doesn't mean anything. If you're playing bad in OCN, that's going to eventually lead into bad results in Apex South. So
I'll put it this way: it's not as if Josh is sitting there like, oh, I could kill him here, but I'm not going to because I'll just save that for Apex South. Like when you're in there, it's like what is it in Australia? We call it like white line fever. You cross the line, you're gonna end up giving it your all. Look, maybe you could say Knights maybe want to save certain maps or certain strats, but even then, once you're in Oregon and once you're playing these rounds, guys, you're trying, and yeah, it's bullshit. Anyone says otherwise. Regardless, though, huge win for Rafflecopter. They do defeat the Knights 8-6 in OT. What a start to night number 2 here for Oceanic Nationals. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we've got 3 more bangers to play out.